Good morning. Today we'll take the next chapter, The Ailing Planet, The Green Movements, role by Nani Palkhiwala. Nani Palkhiwala was a great Indian jurist and liberal economist. He was a great lawyer and he had written a book with his senior called Law and Practice of Income Tax, for which he was credited even by his senior. He was offered a seat in the Supreme Court, which he denied, and later he was offered the position of Attorney General by the Law Minister in Congress government. Earlier he accepted, but later he denied it, and later he fought against the Congress government. In 1977, he was appointed as the Indian ambassador to the United States. He is no more, sadly. In 2002, he died, but he has contributed a lot, not only to the law, but also to the print media. He had written many articles, and the chapter that you are going to study is an excerpt from the article that he had written in Indian Express in 1994. Right? It was published on 24th November 1994. This is actually about the declining health of the earth. Ailing planet. Ailing means one who is ill. Okay, so here the ailing planet is the earth, which is very ill, very sick. And what is the role of the green movement? You are aware with the different types of movements, right? Green movement is related to the trees. It is related to the environment, and this green movement came into being only in 1972, when the first nationwide Green Party was founded in New Zealand. This brought about a change in the view of the people. Started by New Zealand, it spread throughout the world, where people became aware of the rising problem of the health of the planet, that is the earth. Now, earlier what used to happen, that we had a mechanistic view, right? That means we were more attached to the machines, to the development of the factories and all those things, right? And it has changed, right? Now we have a view which is holistic and ecological view, a view which favors the nature, a view which looks at the overall development. Here the author says that this view has come in force and he wants it to be irrevocable. That means one which cannot be changed, which cannot be revoked. So he wants people to think in this manner continuously. He doesn't want this thought of the people to change. He wants everyone to think in a holistic and ecological view, right? Then he talks of this concept of holistic and ecological view. He compares it with the phenomena which Copernicus had given. It was as revolutionary as Copernicus's formula. Copernicus's theory was that the earth and the other planets revolve around the sun. Earlier what people used to think? They used to think that the sun revolves around the earth. But Copernicus was the first person who said that the earth and the other planets revolve around sun. And sadly he was hanged for it, right? So this was a revolutionary thought of Copernicus, and Nani Palkhiwala compares the thought of holistic and ecological view to be as revolutionary as that of Copernicus. So he compares it with this, and he wants us to realize that Earth is not dead, it is also living, right? And it is a very big thing. It is a living organism, and we are part of that particular living organism called Earth. Okay, so if Earth is a living organism, it has its own metabolic needs, as we humans have. We have our metabolic needs. So the Earth, which is also considered to be a living organism, also has the metabolic needs. That means the processes that we have in our body, where we assimilate the food, same way as the plants use sunlight and carbon dioxide to produce food. The Earth is also a living organism with its metabolic needs and vital processes, and it is our duty to respect and preserve those metabolic needs and vital processes of the Earth. So he stresses that this should be very, very carefully considered. It's a vital issue for all of us, right? And then he talks about the situation of the Earth. When we observe the Earth as a living being, a living organism, we see that the Earth is like a patient which is in declining condition. The health of the Earth is declining, right? It is deteriorating. Okay, so here he says, comparing the Earth to a living being, to a living organism, Nani Palkhiwala stresses on the health issues of the Earth and says that people now have realized, they have understood the importance of the Earth, and now they have realized the ethical obligations, the moral obligations to be a good steward of the planet. Steward is the person who looks after others' properties or things, right? So we have to become good steward and responsible trustees of the legacy of the future generation, right? This Earth belongs to everyone, and if it is a living organism, we have to respect its needs, and we have to be careful. We have to be follow the moral obligations to be the good keepers of the Earth, so that we can pass it on to the next generation in a good condition. We have realized this. Now, as we have realized, we have developed a theory of sustainable development, right? It was popularized in 1987 by World Commission on Environment and Development. Now, what actually is sustainable development according to that committee? It says development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. That is, without stripping the natural world of resources future generation would need. So we have to use the resources keeping in mind that they are needed by the future generation also, and this is called sustainable development. You have already studied this word, particular term, sustainable development, but here Nani Palkhiwala mentions specifically this word so that we remember, yes, this has to be taken care of, right? In a zoo in Lusaka, in Zambia, there is a cage, right, where there is a notice. It reads the world's most dangerous animal, and there is no animal in the cage. There is just a mirror. What would you see if you enter that cage? You would definitely see yourself. You'll see your face, right? So according to that zoo, human being is the most dangerous animal on this planet. We have used the resources so much that we cannot satisfy even our greed, although they are only to satisfy our need, right? Now he talks about the role of human beings for in the development, where it is not of domination but of partnership, right? With the nature, we have to sustain on this earth. So it is not the domination of the human beings on the nature, but a partnership with the nature to sustain on this planet. He talks of the millions of species that live on this planet, right? About 1.4 million living species along with us, right? We share this planet with those living species. But it is also said that there are about 3 to 100 million other species which are languishing, right? Which are not catalogued, which are not seen by the people, and they live in ignominious darkness. That means they are not seen, they are not seen by the people. We have not catalogued these species. That means you can imagine the earth which has so many living organisms along with human beings. So it is not just us who are using this planet. Along with us, there are millions and millions of other species who are using this planet, who are helping also, right? You must have read about the food chain, right? You must have read about the minute microscopic organisms. All these species are sustaining on this earth along with us. Okay, now he talks about the International Commission, which dealt with the question of ecology and environment along with the other issues. It was called the Brad Commission. It had one of the Indians, Mr. L.K. Jha, amongst the jury panelists, and the Brad Commission raised the question. It was such a pinching question, pinpointing question, that all of us must stress on that. The commission asked, are we to leave our successor a scorched planet of advancing desert, impoverished landscapes, and ailing environment? Right, stressing on three specific things, right? First is that it is a scorching planet. Scorching is too hot, okay, too hot. The planet is burning, scorching, burning. Why is it burning? Because first there is advancing desert. Why would there be desert? If there would be no water, there would be desert. Why there won't be any water? Because there won't be any rain. Why there won't be any rain? Because there won't be any plants. Why there won't be any plants? Because it is us who are going to cut the trees, right? So we are the ones who are going to have deserts, advancing deserts go on increasing. Desert goes on increasing, right? And the second point is impoverished landscapes, right? Impoverished, that is poor, right? Being poor. Now, why is the landscape poor? It is made poor, landscapes, because there won't be any greenery, right? There won't be any greenery, there won't be any animals who would be grazing here and there. Okay, so landscapes would be made poor. And the ailing environment, the environment will be such that it would be sick. And if the environment is sick, that means it is polluted. If it is polluted, definitely it is going to affect every one of us, right? So the environment which is ailing, environment which is sick, which is ill due to the pollution, is going to affect everything. So the Bragg Commission stressed on three things which will be a result for the scorching planet. First is the advancing desert, second is impoverished landscapes, and third is the ailing environment. These three will result into the scorching planet. And are we going to leave the next generation, our successors, this? Are we going to have this kind of environment where our children will not be able to survive? This is the question which is asked by the Bragg Commission, right? Although this question is so thoughtful that people started finding solutions to this question, and ultimately so many commissions were formed, so many bodies were formed to look after the environment in each and every country, and the green movement became popular, right? Then he talks about Mr. Lester R. Brown, a renowned activist who had written in his book The Global Economic Prospect. He points out that there are Earth's 4 biological systems, right? The 4 principal biological systems of the Earth. They are fisheries, forests, grasslands, and croplands, right? These are the 4 principal biological systems of the Earth. You can see these are all related to the Earth. Fisheries in the water, forest, the trees, grasslands for the animals, and the croplands for us, the human beings. We all have to survive using all these things. We need these things. And that is why Mr. Lester R. Brown, he says that they formed the foundation of the global economic system, right? They provide us food, the cropland, right? They provide us food, okay? And they provide the raw material for industry. Everything that you see, the processed things in the industries, they need the materials from these 4 biological systems: the fisheries, the cropland, the grassland, and the forest. So our industry as well as we for food are dependent on these 4 biological systems, except for the minerals and the petroleums which is derived from the earths. below the earth from the mines. Everything that we need is provided by these four principal biological systems. Okay, so today we'll be stopping here. Wait for the second part. Thank you.